Good afternoon, everyone. It's David Schlotthauer here in the home weather office with a very detailed update on a tropical wave that is coming off of Africa. There is pretty good model support for a possible tropical depression, tropical storm, or if not, a hurricane on the approach to possibly the Leeward Windward Islands, as well as possibly the Bahamas in the next 10 days. Now, before I do get started, if you're new to the channel and you really like these detailed updates, please consider subscribing if you're new, hitting the like button, and sharing this video with their family and friends on social media. So, taking a wide look at the entire Atlantic Basin on June the 15th, 2023, we can see there is not much going on at the moment in the central Atlantic. We're seeing a lot of dry air, not particularly dusty air, but it is rather dry to say the least here in the central Atlantic. We have some thunderstorm development towards the southwest of the Caribbean that is helping to impart some westerly shear all through here. But what we don't see is what is coming off of Africa. There's a tropical wave that is getting going right off the coast of Africa to the southeast of the Cabo Verde Islands, roughly located about 15-ish degrees west in longitude. This is going to be the area that we really have to watch in coming days for possible significant tropical development in the next 7 to 10 days. When we take a look here at the water vapor imagery, as always, the atmosphere is always changing. And so with that being said, we do have a lot of dry air that is located out ahead of this tropical wave. Remember that our wave is here, and the drier air in darkest gray colors is located over the main development region, as well as portions there of the northern Leeward and Windward Islands, including for Puerto Rico. But the thing with this is there's a pretty good anticyclonic flow in the mid and lower levels, including the upper levels. So therefore, a lot of this moisture pocket is actually going to push a lot of this drier air away, and we're probably going to see a pretty favorable environment within this tropical wave over the next several days, and this will be bear watching. So when we now take a look here at the National Hurricane Center graphics, we can see that there is now a 20% chance for tropical development with this tropical wave in the next 7 days. And it is highlighted here on your screen. I'm actually going to mark this in red so you all could really see this as well as I can. So it's this area that we're watching closely, and there is the X that marks the spot. So technically this is just coming off of Africa right now, and it is moving generally westward at about 15 to 20 miles an hour, and it is expected to slow down just slightly once it enters the central main development region of the Atlantic. So therefore, when we take a look at their text product here, this is issued from the National Hurricane Center. And the forecaster is Buckeye. So a tropical wave is forecast to move off the west coast of Africa tonight into Friday. Environmental conditions are expected to become quite conducive for a gradual development of the system while it moves generally westward to the west-northwest at around 15 to 20 miles an hour across the eastern and central tropical Atlantic during the early to the middle part of next week. There is now a 0% chance of tropical formation, so we're not seeing anything in the next couple of days. But we are seeing a 20% chance of tropical formation in the next 7 days. It'd be very interesting to see just how this percentage evolves in the next 3 to 5 days. If they're going to up it significantly, because there is some pretty good model data agreement. Therefore, we're looking at the latest European model, and we clearly do have agreement among the two most accurate, reliable models in this video. First, we're going to look at the European model, and we're going to then look at the GFS model, the Global Forecasting System. So a product that you're looking at here is the amount of spin in the atmosphere. So the perimeter that I'm looking for here is orange colors, red colors, and dark red colors on the European model on this plot. So what we want to see is this area of spin. See that right there? It's just off of Africa. It is just to the south and even the southeast here of the Cabo Verde Islands for tomorrow morning on June the 16th. So what we want to see here is red colors. We want to see a focus. We want to see a pocket of spin that is well focused, very well contracted, and it's able to spin up really quickly. So when we see this, that's what we're looking for here on this particular plot. This is cyclonic vorticity at 5,000 feet above the surface, 850 millibars, and the black line contours indicate your geopotential height, okay? And when we look at that, we're also looking for our wind barbs. So our wind barbs are coming in out of the southeasterly direction. So when we go forward here, the European model really wants to develop this in a hurry. So by Sunday morning, we have a little bit of a better tightening up of the vorticity. Even a closed height line contour. So this could be pretty broad, but also it could be able to contract and try to focus its energy quite nicely. Now, this is going to be steered off into this general direction because we have a nice, good-looking stout ridge of high pressure to the north. Not super strong or super weak, but just perfect for this system to move generally off towards the west-northwesterly direction. So as we go over the next 3 to 5 days, we can see there is our pocket there of spin, pretty strong actually. If when Ethan sees this video, he's going to be like, wow, that is quite a bit of vorticity. That is well focused. To the north of this, we have again that nice looking ridge in the low levels that is going to help steer the system. And then you can see by the time we go into, say, Friday morning, okay, so a week from tomorrow, Friday, June 23rd, this is when it could impact some of the northern windward islands, or leeward islands, I should say. All right, excuse me. So, like Jamaica, if you're on St. Lucia, if you're on St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even to the south there, this could nudge southward or northward a little bit. So areas on these islands definitely need to be aware of the progress of this system because this is quite strong. There is a few isobars that are closed here. So this is a strong tropical system, a tropical storm at the very least here. And then the question remains, where does it go? This is 10 days out, and it's very, very, and I want to warn you all, there is a lot of disagreement usually at 10 days and 7 days. In fact, we're going to actually have severe weather expert Ethan B., also hurricane expert, to better visualize on why it's very unpredictable to look out beyond 7 days. Go ahead, Ethan.
Well, good evening, everyone. When we're talking about model uncertainty here, as you head into the future, there's more factors that might come into play. You think of weather systems as being this one continuous thing, but there's a lot of different things affecting that. And as we go into the future, those factors might change just a little bit either way, and as we move further into time, that amplifies to a pretty large deviation. What that results in is more uncertainty the further into the future we get, because it becomes less predictable on these individual factors that end up determining what the overall system does.
Give a good round of applause to Ethan B., severe and hurricane weather expert here. So now let's take a look here at our GFS model. So we're going to now compare the European to the GFS model because, again, the whole point of these videos is to not only educate you all, but to also make sure you are prepared. We are providing you realistic, honest information when it comes to forecasting these systems. So when we look at the GFS model, this is for tomorrow morning. Again, there is our area down there to watch coming off of Africa tonight. And then we can see how this really congeals quickly. Look at how compact that is. Really compact. And so, well, what does that mean when it's compact? It's able to spin up much quicker. It's able to become really strong while being really small. So don't let the size of the system fool you all, because small systems are just as dangerous as larger ones. So this is 3 days out. That would be a tropical storm on the GFS model. Going forward here in time, this is 5 days. We can see where the system actually is. Going out to then 7 days, there it is. Really strong, perhaps a little more broader. The GFS wants to kind of make it fall apart a little bit more. and then it really congeals back. Once it passes right to the north there of Puerto Rico, some of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands, because now your ridge is over here. So the system is able to move in this general direction, as you can see. So when we play this through, you can see that is what we're looking for, folks. I want you all to be aware of that. When we look at vorticity, spin in the atmosphere at 850 millibars, this is a product that we are specifically looking for. Okay, so going forward, that is a little past 10 days. And I should even be going that far out, Ethan, right? So we can see here, north of, say, the Dominican Republic, that's what the system looks like. When we compare previous model runs, yeah, look at the 12Z, it's not even there. When we look at the 06Z, it's over here. When we look at prior runs, it's not even there. So there's a lot of uncertainty. The European is a little bit more consistent with its actual forecast track, but the GFS is pretty uncertain. So now another reason why it's a bit uncertain is because how the pattern evolves throughout the next few days. We were talking about that drier air on satellite and how that might play a role in the future. But we're going to base this off the 18. Actually, we're going to use the European model. We could use the European since it's probably our more generous model. Because again, at the end of the day, we need to be honest and truthful about our forecast. So when we go forward here, we're going to just look at, again, this is the U.S. right up here. If you guys know your bearings here, here is Venezuela down here. Here is Jamaica. There is Puerto Rico. There are the U.S. and British Virgin Islands. U.S. and British Virgin Islands up here. There we go. Windward and Leeward Islands are down here. So this is a moisture plot at 700 to 300 millibars. So brown colors indicate drier air. Green, turquoise colors indicate more moisture in the air. So when we play this forward, you can see that the European model, there's a lot of shear on this system. We can see it right here. We have a little bit of an area of low pressure here to the north. That might induce a little bit of northwesterly shear on the system. And going forward, toward the end of the model run, there's just a lot of shear on this system according to the European model. However, when we go to the GFS, whole different story. So that's why there is a ceiling, a wild of outcomes here. Early on, there's shear, and that might impact on the longevity of what the GFS model does when it gets into, say, the north portion there of the Dominican Republic and Hispaniola. And then when it gets over here, it might be able to intensify a little bit more. All right, so that's a look at the models. Now let's take a look at our sea surface temperatures, because it's warm. These waters that you're looking at, and again, this goes for you too, Ethan, when you're watching this video after I release this, it is very concerning. These waters are very, very, very warm. We're talking sea surface temperatures 28 plus Celsius over the Caribbean, even the Gulf of Mexico, really warming up quickly. Waters off the eastern Pacific basin are almost 32 Celsius. So these waters are really warm, and the 26-degree isotherm is so far north. This is typically with what you might find in early September. So we're definitely ahead of normal. And look at our sea surface temperature anomalies to really get an idea. Really warm horseshoe look to this. Even the Gulf is really warm, anywhere between 1 and 2 Celsius above the long-term average, including much of the Atlantic. My goodness. This is when I don't like being over-exaggerating, but I have to over-exaggerate. These waters right off the coast here of Africa, over the Cabo Verde Islands, or Cape Verde Islands, however you want to call it, running 3 to 4 Celsius above the long-term average. Water temperatures up here, 2 to 3 degrees Celsius above the long-term average. Cooler waters here in the central Atlantic, classic Iberian Peninsula warm horseshoe, including your very warm Canary Current. This is what is going to give us a very busy season. And we're already starting to see that. I mean, we might be seeing our second named storm in June, our third numbered storm so far this season. Remember, we had a subtropical unnamed storm system in January. We had Arlene in the Gulf of Mexico on the first day of June. Now we might be dealing with our second named storm, that would be Brett, on its list of names for the Atlantic hurricane season. And this one could be a one that could really be a real troublemaker when it comes to that. Really quickly, I wanted to show you all this. The sea surface temp or the upper ocean heat content is extreme with this. So the system is right over here. And let me make a white little dot here. It's going to be over here in the morning, and it's going to be tracking in this general direction. Yeah, it's going to be moving into more richer upper ocean heat content waters. The waters are warmer. The atmosphere may be or is likely to be more unstable, more moisture. This really has my attention, folks. Even so, it has a 20% chance. The models really tell the whole story. So I want to make sure you all are prepared for what's to come. Okay? Well, that's going to do with today's video. If you did enjoy the detailed tropical update, please consider subscribing, sharing this video with your family and friends on social media, and leave an awesome comment in the section below. I am so sorry I was not able to live stream. I made several attempts at streaming today. It just has not worked out today just because the internet is not working. I am currently contacting the internet provider to see what's going on, and I'm hoping soon enough before we have a landfall, I am able to stream without any interruptions at all. All right, well, that's going to do with this video. Thank you all for watching.